So I want to welcome you once more to this session. Tonight we are going to discuss requirements gathering and documentation and a bit of analysis. We have this session prepared for business analysis training. Well, because we are starting this, because I don't treat the requirements gathering and analysis deeply within project management training. I treat it deeply within business analysis training, but because there's a pocket of requirements gathering within these projects, so I have to do that at this moment. So to give us insights on what requirements gathering is all about and how to do it. Okay, requirements gathering, you can call it these three different names. So you might be hearing these different names in terms of requirements gathering. So you can hear requirement elicitation is the same thing. So you can hear data collection is the same thing. So that is what we the requirement gathering, data collection, and requirement elicitation. Elicitation. So whichever one you hear, maybe you'll say they ask you, have you done your requirement elicitation? Don't be confused. They are asking you if you done your requirement gathering. Or if you hear, have you done your data collection? Is the same thing is requirement gathering or requirement elicitation. So is aware of eliciting or gathering requirements or collecting requirements based on the projects you are working on from the stakeholders to give you more understanding, more insight about the stakeholders' expectation within the project. So that's what I mean by requirement gathering. In some cases, like in software development, it include documenting both functional and non-functional requirements when you are building software or implementing software. But in other cases, it's just understanding, getting information to understand the need of the stakeholders, their expectation from you. So most of the cases, you see they're giving out project brief, but so you find out that so many project brief might be very scanty. There is a high level overview that the project brief might not give you all the information because it's high level. So based on that, like high level is mainly bullet points. You need to break those bullet points into low level. So when we talk about say high level, we mean at a chunk stage. And when we talk about low level, it means breaking it down into more detailed for more understanding. So that is it. So that is requirement gathering to gather requirements for more understanding. And we'll have various techniques we can use to do that. We'll have an interview, you can use survey, you can use workshop, we can use cases, prototyping, and observation, so many of them, but these ones are listed here are mostly the one they use. Example is conducting interview with sales team and customer support to gather requirements for features such as lead tracking, automated communication, and integration within a CRM system. So let's look at points step by step, what you need to do step by step if you are collecting requirements or gathering requirements or collecting data or eliciting. Like I said, mainly this is what business analyst does. They do it on daily basis. Asking questions. You do not assume. In business analysis, there is nothing like assumption. Business analysis must be based on facts and figure. It must be based on what the stakeholders said. This is what it not, you cannot assume that I think this is what he might be thinking of, or this is what I think he should like. No, we are not in his mind, and he's not paying you to come and assume for them. They want facts and figure that will help them to make decision. They are relying on you to make informed decision. So that's why you need to go out to gather requirements. It's all about research. So gather requirements, do research, do analysis, do everything, and help them to make decision. You recommend after all this requirement gathering and the requirement analysis, then you as the business analyst need to make recommendation or even advise your team on what approach. The main purpose of project managers there is to make sure that this project is on track within the budget stated, within the scope stated, within the timelines stated. You break them down, make sure that it's achievable within but the solution that we'll be using to get there, strategy that we'll be using to get there, is the duty of the business analyst. So these are very key steps. You can, let's just say, standard step you can use to when you want to gather requirements. The first is by clearly define the purpose of the requirement gathering, more especially if you are using interview. Like I said, there are so many, you can use workshop, but even in workshop, you're still going to interview them. So everything is boiled down to interview. Then identify the target respondent for the interview. Before you start it, you must identify the target stakeholders. Your stakeholders, you might have different stakeholders. So whatever, you can't go to all the stakeholders at the same, because you want to gather requirements when you are implementing CRM. There are key stakeholders that knows about this, you need to identify. So you need to, for instance, you have sales and marketing. If you're implementing CRM, these are some of the key people there that you need to, identify, like the marketing manager, sales managers, sales representatives, and co. So you identify the target respondent, prepare a list of questions prior to the interview is very key. Get questions ready. Like so many of you have been contacting me, want to gather requirements, want to gather, and what I will always tell you is that get your questions ready. Get your questions ready. So you have to have a list of questions prior to the interview. Decide the type of interview you are going to use. Have different ways, like workshop, or you want to do it in a workshop way, you want to use observation, whichever way you want to, you must identify the method. You cannot use two methods at a time. Just use one method and make things align within that particular method. Decide the data capturing method. You see, we have been using form to capture data from you guys. I've done that so many times. You can use questionnaire. So you can use questionnaire and form together. You can take notes like what I'm doing here now. I'm presenting, and some people can be taking notes, jotting important information from what I'm saying. You can be taking notes. You can record your session. Today, technology has made everything so easy for us, unlike those days where you have to be asking questions and writing. Even some people have to hire someone to help them take notes while they are, interviewing stakeholders. But these days, we are more especially though when you are using a remote, like what we are doing here, using video conferencing. But if you are doing it in an office environment, face-to-face, one-on-one, then you must have to take notes, or you have to get a tape recorder. If you are a very slow writer, you know yourself and know the strategy you need to apply. But in this case, I'm recording it and transcribing it. After the recording, I'll get the transcript. From the transcript, I will generate and then extract the main information from the transcript. Or I can go back and listen again, whichever way, but you must decide data capturing method. Then contact the respondent before the time. When all these things you've set all these things are done, it's time for you to contact the respondent and the stakeholder. When I mean respondent, I mean stakeholders that you are going to interview. You contact them to let them know you want to capture requirement from them. You can't just barge into somebody on their desk, I want to capture requirement from you. Who does that? You think they don't have anything to do? You must find out when they are available. Availability, when are they available to capture requirement, to give you, time for requirement gathering. So it's something you need to negotiate with many important stakeholders, and once that is done, then well, in most cases, like so many places I've worked, if you are using Microsoft Team, it will always show when you are available and when you are not available. So someone can go to Microsoft, or your calendar. Everybody sees your availability, and from your availability, someone can fix a chat with you or a session with you based on your availability. Or if you don't know how to do that, contact them and find out when they are available. It is very important because you might put a meeting when someone is going on annual leave. You can't stop someone from going for the annual leave because you want to gather requirement from them. So the availability is very, very important. That's why you need to contact them. Before then, you must do a pilot interview within you and within your team. Like now, we have different teams, and you can see within the team we are more than one BAs. So you refine your question. It's best practice, it's a best practice to help you refine your question before the date, because you are going to meet important people, and it's always good for you to present yourself very well. So that's why you need to refine question to make sure there is no mistakes. Then conduct the interview at the scheduled time and date. On that scheduled time and date, conduct that interview. You must be on time. If you have interview for 12 p.m. It's a best practice that 30 minutes before the interview, if you are using a conference hall or if you are using an office or wherever you are using, you must go there and make sure that your space which you have reserved for that interview session or that workshop is still there for you. Because if you don't know that, you might just get there by the time for that you find out that another group of people are using there for one thing or the other, and you might not have the capacity to ask them to leave because you want to have a session with other people. So that's why it's important. So that if there are some people occupying your space, if they don't know you have booked that particular, what I do is that I will always, if I'm using office space, I will always book the place, and like 30 minutes I'll go around to check if anybody is occupying it. I've done that before, where I booked the what we call glass office, where that's where I normally like to capture my requirement. I booked glass office for my interview, and when I get to the glass office, I find out that we have external auditors that are using that glass office, and these are not people I can go and tell, hey, I've booked this place. So all I have to do is quickly send email, call, and to everybody and on Teams, letting them know that the venue have changed. Quickly look for alternative venue, so which I was able to do within 30 minutes. I got another space, and then, but if I didn't go to check, you find out that external auditors are there, and then the stakeholders will come and everybody will become stranded, and they'll tell you, what are you doing? Did you really plan for this session? That's going to be a dent on your image as a business analyst. Secondly, if you are using remote technique like what I'm doing here, using Microsoft Teams, using Google Meet, using Zoom, you can log in, open your computer, and your computer, I find out your computer just crashed. It has happened to me before. What do? You quickly look for alternative. There's once I had an interview, and I log into my system, and my system is just started misbehaving. There's 15 minutes, I started got my wife's laptop, boot it, and I was able to do that. But if I didn't come on within 15 minutes, it would have been a disaster for me. So it's good to log in on time. At times you find out your internet is not, the internet operators is not your father's company. You can want to use it and you find out you have no internet connectivity. It has happened to me where I want to have an interview and I lost the internet connectivity. What did I do? We have a strong home internet connectivity. We are using internet broadband we are using at home. But at that point, that one started messing up. What did I do? I quickly connect to my hotspot on my phone and power my laptop and start having an interview. So these are a lot of things that can happen. And that's why you have to come on time and on the date of interview, and let the question structure the conversation, so be adapt to the discussion as needed. This means that you've had a question for the interview, you follow the interview, and when there is need for a bit of adaptation from the stakeholders, you try to be as flexible as possible. Don't be too rigid and don't be too flexible, So, and if there is need for, if you are good, for icebreaker, you can use icebreaker to make the environment friendly. But if you don't know how to use icebreaker, don't use it. Some people can start misusing it. So it's very, very important. Don't use if you do not know how to use it. It's very, very important. Also, some people, because you want to be friendly everywhere, you want to be friendly, there are people want to you go for requirement gathering or interview session, and you start asking your stakeholder about your relationship, about your boyfriend. So what if they just the person just broke up with the boyfriend, or they having an issue with the relationship? The person can become emotional. Some people might not just take it. So if you are done one, but for you just want to be free, ask them to, so that you are a nice guy, but it might not really go down well with people. So like we say, take note or record interview in order to capture the important conversation. Listen and don't interrupt. Make the participant feel comfortable and be respectful of boundary. I've spoken about respectful of boundaries. Interrupting, some people lack, this patience. So you have to be professional. This is why we are pointing all this out, because it happens. Maybe you see they ask a question and they are not really responding to the way you want, or they are talking off point and you jump in and cut them off. No, you don't do that. Even if they are talking off point, you must listen. You have to be patient. All you need to do is, after they've responded, ask another question or refine your question to make sure that they understand your question. But you do not interrupt, and you must be a good listener once they started responding to your question. And respectful of boundaries, I say, don't know your boundaries. Don't go and start asking private questions. You can, when did you join this company? What is your business when the person joined the company? Or how much is their salary? What's your business with, what has the person's salary got to do? So if you need to understand staff salary, you don't need to go to someone to ask the person's salary. You go to HR. And HR will not even tell you anybody's salary. They will tell you the range. They will not call you name. They cannot say this is how much Charles is earning. They will tell you that maybe a senior business analyst in this company will be earning between 60 to 70,000 pounds per annum. They cannot tell you that Mr. Charles is earning 60,000 per annum or 70,000 per annum. They can't do that. That is against the law. So you have to respect boundaries. And before completing the interview, or ask the respondent for additional input or comment. So in this case, you might think you've captured everything you needed, but the respondent might really want to be helpful, seeing how you are struggling to capture requirement, and there's some secrets you do not really know, the journey. And you find out, in my company, I implemented, they didn't have a good ITSM system. I implemented a robust ITSM system for them. We're trying to analyze the solutions, options, and I didn't understand the journey. And, I didn't ask that question. But these guys, they quickly wanted me to know the exact how the journey started. how they migrated from the reason why they have to migrate from Zendex to Hello ITSM to from Hello ITSM. So the journey, and that was very good for me to understand the journey, because we jump into solutions, evaluations, and things like that. So it's equally very important for you to, and that was when I asked after everything, I say, is there any other thing you think I should know, that will help me in this hour? And then you open up. And so at times they can just feel, well, you didn't ask. But if you put it this way, do you have anything you want to say or anything important information you need, you think that we didn't capture very well? It might be the time for them to drop the main thing for you. So, and yeah, that's why it's very important to ask them to make their own additional input or comment. And take time to document important ideas and findings soon after completing the interview. Do not wait for 3 days, I will do it later. Don't do it later, do it immediately. Do documentation immediately. It's very, very important. Even if you are not going to start the analysis, it's important to put everything you capture, document them very well, because you can easily forget. You can easily forget, so you have to document it and keep it in a very safe place. This is raw data you've captured. Mind you, these are big boys. These are high rank officers in the company. It will be very unprofessional after having requirement gathering session with a director of, let's say, director of IT, and tomorrow morning you start calling them again, or I forgot that. What is that? How can you do that? So that is the reason why you should document everything immediately. So when your brain is fresh, when everything is fresh, and it's equally important that after that, you can send that information back for validation. Send your documentation back to validation to make sure that what you captured is actually what they gave you or what they responded. So that's it. And after validation, then you can proceed to data analysis. So that is it about, these are key points, taking it step by step. And when we talk about interview, we have, different types of interview. We have open interview, which allows a degree of freedom and adaptability in gathering information. Open interview is where you kind of use open questions, ask questions that will help the person to, explore the respondent. So the person have to talk. Unlike structured interview, where it's structured in such a way that the person will have to answer yes or no, or select multiple. Open interview is where the person needs to, give the degree of freedom for person to, when you use open question. So that is what we mean by open interview. And structured interview is mainly, you use that mainly for questionnaires or survey. So that is the difference between these two types of interview. So like we said, structured are performed by using a well-designed questionnaire, force the respondent to choose answers from among the same set of alternatives. So like all these ones I've been using this while to capture, like all these Google Forms you have been using, most of the time you see is structured. I'm not asking you to, I've never asked you to say, why did you choose to study business analysis at this point? You know, when I ask you that question, you can even give, your response can be more than even two notes, or even 10 paragraphs, while you are trying to, you know, tell me the reason why you want to. But if I say choose between business analysis and project management, you only have to choose one. You cannot choose one. And I didn't ask you to, why are you choosing business analysis? So these are structured and unstructured. So let's look at constructing a questionnaire, more especially if you are using a questionnaire. So many people do not know how to, you know, construct a questionnaire. So start by clearly define the goal of the questionnaire. Like most of the questionnaire we use questionnaire to collect data so many times here. So the need, define the goal for the questionnaire and the specific information needed to be collected, identify the targets respondent for the questionnaire, determine the relevant sampling method, and decide the best way to conduct the questionnaire. Choose the questionnaire type and the measurement scale. Most of the questionnaires need to have a measurement scale as in within a measure of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. You know, draft the questionnaire and sequence the questionnaire. So the questionnaire should flow, you know, can in a way of sequential. Like if you want to capture bio data, you cannot start capturing like phone number, email. In a sequence, the first thing you need to capture is to capture the name. If you capture the name, then maybe you can capture the email, the phone, and so that's the sequence. So, and do a pilot test to finalize. It's important to always refine your question. That's what I mean by pilot, and send out the questionnaire to the respondent. So most of the time these days, sending out questionnaires, you use email to send questionnaires, or you can just drop the link. For instance, the one I use within the group, I just drop the link within the group and everybody will follow the link. But if I want the questionnaire to be filled by a specific individual, I'll use email, send it to them to fill, so that everybody will not have to use it. Where everybody do not need to participate, and then collect, compile and analyze the result. Then we have another one, conducting using a focus group. You know, what is focus group? Focus group is a group of people within the maybe organization. So you group them based on their need, or based on similarity. They must have commonalities, common interests. So you have to group people based on their common interests. If you are implementing an ERP system is enterprise resource planning. And in enterprise resource planning, we have a lot of departments that are using that enterprise resource planning. We find out that finance and accounts have to use that system. We find out that operations department use that system. Even HR have where to use that system. We have supply chain units. We have marketing or sales units. They have to use that system. and you want to implement an ERP system, it's going to be very difficult for you to invite finance and account department, you invite sales department, you invite HR department, you invite operations, you invite supply chain, like 5 departments in one workshop to gather requirement from all of them. That is crazy. It's going to be difficult for you to achieve something, you know, and because the kind of question when you start asking about finance, you are not going to be calling names for people to start, you know. So, and some people would feel they are wasting their time. What have they got to do with, you know, general ledger, accounts payable, and this like that? More especially those in HR, or those in supply chain, or those in marketing, and we are talking about general ledger. So all you need to do is break them down, break them out into focus group, and be taking them one after the other. You can take finance department this week, some other time. So that's what we mean by focus group, interest group. You know, group them based on their interest. And within that, you can discuss their modules with them to capture requirements. So define the objective of the focus group, decide who should moderate the focus group to facilitate the discussion, consider hiring an outsider facilitator if needed, select the participant based on their relevance and potential contribution to achieve the objective. Like I said, you see, select based on their relevance and potential contribution. If you are choosing somebody who will just come there and be watching other people, is not a good idea. So prepare the outline of the focus group and list the question. Invite the participant by email at least 2 weeks prior to the meeting. A follow-up call is required to confirm attendance. In this one, you see, these are a group of people. So you need to follow up to make sure that all the people that you invited they are really participating. Conduct the focus group. Start by stating the objective. Ask questions in an interactive way where participants are free to talk with the group members. Allow everyone to respond to every question asked. Like I said, asking questions, you are not going to come down and start calling somebody's name. You ask a question. So everybody is a free interactive session where everybody will be contributing, like discussing an idea in such a way, and you'll be taking notes or you're recording it. After everything from the whole discussion, you extract important information. So record important ideas and observe conversation pattern before completing. Ask the participants for additional input. It's always important to do that. And then process, then analyze the data. Data analysis can be placed at a group or individual level. So one is always good to analyze immediately after that, and equally is important to validate the information gathered, more especially from if you have a team lead, for instance. It's always good to validate before analyzing to make sure that you are not missing anything. So that is about focus group. The take home here is to know that focus group is people within common interest. We have another way of capturing requirement called observation. Observation is a way where you capture requirement by observing the way they do their work. It can be just looking at them doing it, understand the way they do it, the difficulties they face doing it. Maybe if you are trying to understand the pain points or challenges within a process, you can decide to observe the process, look at the way they do it, try to understand the time it takes to complete a process. This can be observed, by you decide not to ask questions and look. But to do that, the number one thing is to clearly define the purpose of the observation and how the observed information will be used afterward. Is very, very important. I had a situation in the office, my colleague, where I told him that is wrong. You cannot, there's what we call spying. Spying is different from observation. When you try to, as a business analyst, you try to understand a process and you have not discussed it with the process owner or the people working within the process, you are spying on them. And it's against the law. You do not spy on people. You can only spy if you have the right to spy, if you belong to some security agents like CIA, FBI, DL, what they call it in Nigeria. So all these agencies, they can, with relevant, authorization to spy on people if they are really trying to solve a problem. So they can do that without informing anybody. They can even mount cameras. So, but these are security agencies. But you as a business analyst, you are not a security agent. So you cannot just go in workplace and start spying on people. It's wrong. Somebody can take a legal action against you or even against the company. Like if you see company installing CCTV cameras or cameras to monitor people where they are working without their knowledge, is against the law. They can take legal action against them. You can spy on people. If you have to do that, they must know that they are being spied on. Or you're going to toilets to put camera there where people use toilet. Who does that? So, that's the so that's why you have to clearly define the purpose of the observation and how the observed information will be used. You need to discuss it with the process owner or the people working within the process before. You have to give their consent before you can start the observation. So study the process or problem you are about to observe. Prepare an observation form to collect the desired information. Get permission from the process owner or supervisors to conduct the observation and talk to the people there. Conduct the observation, visit the actual place where the process or problem takes place. Walk the process, collect data, interview people, and record observation and responses. Take time to document important ideas and findings soon after completing the observation. Share what you have learned in your observation, in your operational meeting, and take the necessary steps to resolve the problems and improve the process. So that is observations. And here we have types of observations. We have silent observation. In silent observation is useful when collecting raw data, and typically takes only a couple of minutes to an hour for silent. Like this one is just where you can just look at the way they work on a process. So if someone using a CRM system, you can just spend like 1 hour watching them, how they input data, how they extract data, how they manage using the system. We have interactive observation. This requires the observer to visit the actual place to observe the process, ask question, and learn. So in this process, the person will be working and they'll be asking questions. How did you use this? What is the essence of this? How do you find it difficult using this to export data? Is this integrated with other systems? They are working and we're asking them how they use the system to process information or how they work within the observation. So, and we have extended observation. This observation, the observation period takes much longer time to thoroughly understand current state of. So this is where you really need to take your time to study the full end-to-end process or the whole system to understand the system very well. So with this, you have I've given you almost the most important way you can interact with stakeholders to capture relevant requirements that will help you to perform your job as in the business analyst, do analysis, do solution evaluation, and make recommendation to the stakeholders. So we have dummy questions here, which are you can use to. They are just dummy questions, just to give you an idea of how this works. We'll have a how, where, when, who, and what requirement gathering question, more especially when you are working within software development. These are kind of questions are common when you are using within software development. When you talk about how requirement question, you see how will you use this feature? How might we meet the business need? How might we think about this feature a bit differently? How will we know this is complete? And we talk about where. You see, where does the process start? Where does the user access the feature? Where will the user be located physically when using this feature? Where will the result be visible? And then when will this feature be used? When do we need to know about? When will the feature fail? When will it be ready to start? And who? So who will use the feature? Who will deliver the input for the feature? Who will receive the output of the feature? Who will learn about the result of someone using the feature? Who can I ask to learn more about this? And we equally have what do you know about this feature? What assumptions am I making about this feature that I need to confirm? What does this feature need to do? What is the end result of doing this? What are the pieces of this feature? What needs to happen next? What must happen before? What needs to be tracked? And these are all we need to know for now. So, and let's look at some of the other documents that might give us more insights about nearas.com based on the information we've already gathered in this requirement gathering process. I have this one called NIARA's requirements gathering question. So I've generated some questions for you, which can help, you want to gather requirements. So this question is broken down into business objectives and goals. We have targets, market, and user persona. We have platform feature and functionalities. We have payment and transaction, localization, and cultural adaptation. We have marketing, promotion. We have user experience and interface. We have technical requirements and infrastructure. We have legal regulation and compliance. By the time you select some questions from here, or you ask all these questions to stakeholders, you should be able to have authoritative knowledge of what this company is all about and other things about the company. Let's explore these questions, like under user objectives and goals. What are the primary objectives of Niara.com expansion into Nigerian market? What specific metrics will be used to measure the success of this expansion? And what are the expected financial return or market share goal? Then targets, market, and user persona. Who is the target audience for Niara.com in Nigeria? What are their demographics, interests, and online behavior? What specific features or functionality would appeal most to this target audience? And what are the key pain points or challenges that Niara.com can address for Nigerian users? You see all these questions. I'm going to make it available because of time. I'm not going to start reading all of them. You have to go and keep yourself busy within your group, asking yourself all these questions and trying to understand. I try, because of timeline, I try to make things easier for us, and because of timeline. So here, like Niara.com expansion in Nigeria requirement documentation, and this is requirement gathering question and answer, where some of these questions are asked and answered as well. For instance, here you see when it's asked under business objective and goals, you see, what are the primary objectives of Niara.com expansion into Nigerian market? And then the stakeholder will say, increase Niara's user base in Nigeria by 50% within the first year of expansion, generating a total of $1 million in revenue from Nigerian market within the same period, and establish Niara.com as a leading social media platform in Nigeria. You can see the way the stakeholder responded to this particular question. Then the BA again, under target market and user demo, and the user persona will say, who is the target audience for Niara.com in Nigeria? And the stakeholder will respond, primarily young adults and adults age 18 to 45, tech savvy individuals who are active social media users, and those seeking communities, entertainment, and networking opportunities. So you see the stakeholder giving them like what they are looking for. Then the BA will equally ask, what existing features of Nearas.com need to be adapted or localized for the Nigerian market? And the stakeholder will respond, localized platform interface and content into major Nigerian languages, integrate popular Nigerian payment method, and optimize the platform for low bandwidth connection and mobile devices. So that is it. I'm going to stop here because we're going to have access to these documents as a team. We have a meeting to look at it. So, and then you see question and answer. They are asking question and responding to questions you ask. This is not the documentation. You cannot come and say this is your documentation because this is a raw, this is if you use what we call recording and transcription. This is what the recording and transcription is going to give you. As you see, it's asking question and it's transcribing all the questions and the answers captured here. But this cannot be a documentation. So when we want to look at documentation to look professional, we can look at something like this. So here, all the questions here, you can't find any questions here. This is, you've documented the requirements you gather from the stakeholders. And looking at this, you say business objective and goal. The primary objective here is to increase user base in Nigeria by 50% within first years of expansion, and then generate $1 million in revenue from the Nigerian market within the same period, and establish Nearas.com as a leading social media platform in Nigeria. And success metrics: user registration growth, monthly active users, revenue generated, engagement metrics, and brand awareness and perception. Target market audience, say primarily young adults aged 18 to 45, tech-savvy individuals who are active social media users, and individuals seeking community, entertainment, networking. And you see, this is a clean documentation. And then we have another document which is going to interest you. And let's see, you want to understand more why perform, even with the information you gather. Okay, you say you want to do a kind of a SWOT analysis. It is a bit of analysis to help you equally. So you try to analyze user Nearas into SWOT, their strengths, their weakness, their opportunities, and their threats within the market. So like here we see the strength here is comprehensive feature set, offer a wide range of features catering to diverse user need, monetization option, multiple revenue stream, including ad, marketplace, and the subscription, and content monetization, strong community building features like group, forum, events, and live streaming, foster user engagement and community, and customizable platform. User can personalize their profile, content, enhancing user experience. Mobile app, offer a convenient mobile app for easy access and engagement. And then we'll have weaknesses like competitive market competition. We are going to face competition from established social media giants like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. User acquisition, many may need to invest heavily in marketing and user acquisition to compete with established platforms. These are our weaknesses. Platform complexity. The vast number of features could potentially overwhelm new users. And content moderation, ensuring effective content moderation can be challenging, establishing in a rapid growing platform. We have opportunities. Under opportunities, expanding into new markets, targeting emerging markets with high internet penetration and growing social media usage. Partnership, collaborate with businesses, influencers, and other platforms to expand reach and offer new features. And innovative features, continuously develop and introduce new features to stay ahead of the competition and attract users. And content monetization, explore new ways to monetize user-generated content such as subscription, merchandise, and brand partnership. And threats, regulatory changes. Changes in data privacy law or social media regulation could impact operation. Technology advancement, new technology or platform could disrupt the social media landscape. And economic downturn, a decrease in economic activity could affect user spending and advertising revenue. And cyber security threats, increasing cyber risk could compromise user data and platform security. So these are where we can equally have interaction with or within the team based on the requirements we've already gathered and analyzing, applying SWOT analysis. This can use SWOT analysis to first do requirement analysis. We can equally do another requirement analysis based on the information we've gathered already. We can use what we call requirement analysis, like feature or requirement prioritization technique. We can use feature prioritization or requirement prioritization technique to first do our analysis. So this analysis provides a starting point. Further analysis and adaptation may be required based on specific market research and user feedback. So requirement analysis technique here, which we are going to use, is for a start. This is not a software development, so we might not be using like a gap analysis and things like that. So we use feature prioritization technique. So feature prioritization technique is a technique used to rank requirements based on their importance and urgency, how the stakeholders, feel that this is very important, and we really how urgent some of these features are. This helps to ensure that the most critical requirements are addressed first. In the context of Niara's expansion into the Nigerian market, we can use feature prioritization to identify the requirements that will have the biggest impact on user acquisition. So what are the types of requirement or features we have in Niara's that will help us to identify or have the biggest impact when we're trying to acquire users, engagement, and revenue generation? What are those features? So that's it here, how feature prioritization is going to help us become a solution on how to expand this market. The stakeholders' requirements were weighted and scored based on the perceived importance and urgency. The top 5 requirements were then identified as most critical for success in Nigerian market. This is just one example on how requirement analysis technique can be used to inform product development decision. And by carefully analyzing requirements, business can ensure that they are investing their resources in the areas that will have the greatest impact. And the top prioritized requirements for effective expansion based on importance are increase user base in Nigeria by 50%, then ensure data privacy compliance, implement robust security measure, localize platform interface and content, and generate 1 million in revenue. This is a top requirement based on our requirement gathering from the stakeholders. And then corresponding solution. Based on this requirement, what are the solutions to help us increase user base and revenue? First, localized market campaign targeting Nigerian demographics. Partner with local mobile carriers for data bundle promotion within Naira.com. Content creation, contests, and influencer marketing focus on Nigeria creator. Then we have localization and platform optimization. We have translation and cultural adaptation of platform into platform interface and content, integration of popular Nigerian languages like Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and performance optimization for low bandwidth connection prevalent in Nigeria. And then data privacy and security compliance with Nigerian data protection regulation, implementation of strong security measure to protect user data, and transparency regarding data collection and usage practices. So these are the key solutions that will help us to expand, that we need to start implementing. So these are all the both requirements gathering, requirements documentation, requirements and analysis, which have documented that will help us. So, well, it's a workshop we can leverage on to do our work, but you can still come back for another requirement gathering. You can still do a more robust requirement analysis and requirement documentation. You can do a more robust requirement analysis. But this is a starting point, and whatever you are doing should not be below the standard I've provided. I've given you a standard. So if you don't know what to do, you can just customize all this and make it your own. There's nothing to worry so much about. So I provide this as information that will help you to do your work. I'm not doing your work to you. It's best for you to see how to start adopting this while implementing your project. So this is the end of my presentation. And if you have questions, I'm ready to still respond to your question. Or if you want to readjust and come back for another requirement gathering, if you feel that you don't have enough, or whichever way, We don't have much time. That's the only thing I can say for now. So, but this is a first way to understand requirement gathering in this project, document it, analyze it, and start using them as a solution to start your expansion project. So, are we sleeping already?
So we are here.
No, sir.
We are here, sir.
That's cold.
Oh my gosh.
Like we said, Nigeria, today lecture choke.
Yeah, lecture choke.
I have a question.
It's not that we started work.
Okay, Peace Ephraim.
Okay.
Who said okay, Peace is sleeping already? We have Ivobe.
Good afternoon. Jesus Christ. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Easy, please. Take them easy.
Okay, yes. Thanks for the clarification on the requirement gathering, because we're already thinking about it. I don't know if I should go ahead and ask about the next step, which is plan with this.
I can't hear you now. Your network is
me drawing the class back.
Can you start afresh, because I didn't get anything?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I didn't get that, sir.
I said, can you ask your question again, because I didn't get it.
Okay. I just want a clarification on the project plan, the full project plan. On the work breakdown structure, there's nothing under that. Can we go ahead and use Project Libre in doing that?
Of course, you need to, all the project managers need to do their create their project plan using Project Libre. Or do you have any other? Have you paid for Microsoft projects or Primavera? You want to use any of them? Okay. Use Project Libre for your Microsoft, for your project plan. Joy. Okay, Joy is not listening. Have Andrew and Mecca.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
and good evening, everyone. Yeah, I know today's class is really lovely, and even though it's kinda joked, but we'll push it and we'll get it. My question goes this way, sir. Are we going to also have this document just as you sent that of the project brief in the group?
Like I said, the document is provided for you. We are going to have it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If you want to adopt it for your work and it's working, good and fine. And if you feel it's not good enough, you can upgrade it. But it cannot be below that based on what I believe in. But I believe all the document is sophisticated enough to take you through your projects. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah.
All right. Hope. Okay, let's hear from Joy. When you raise your hand, don't go and start sleeping.
I'm always on mute when I want to ask. I don't know why.
Okay.
So my question is, okay, all this approach you listed, approach to asking questions, stakeholder questions? Does it depend on the project you're undertaking, or you just go with the one that is best, or on your own you just decide, okay, this the workshop one is the best, the interview one is the best, the observation one is the best? So I want
Well,
to
it
know.
depends. It depends on what you are doing. For instance, I see if you are trying to implement ERP system is one software that almost every department in an organization uses it in one way or the other. So it has a lot of modules. Like you have finance modules, you have operations modules, it has even project management. A lot of people, is one application everybody can connect. So if you are implementing such application and you want to capture requirement, the best approach is to use focus group. So you have plan your requirement gathering based on their groups. So if you are trying to gather requirement for finance team, then you know you are going to focus on the way they are going to use finance model. If you are trying to gather requirements for operations department, there is no way you are going to be asking them question about finance model. You're going to be focusing on operations model. Okay, that's done. If you are implementing a solution, most popular solution, and so many of them use like for HR, they use SAP SuccessFactors. SuccessFactors is the solution most companies use in HR. So this one you can just use normal workshop or normal interview. There is no need of focus group because you are working on HR. You are not working with others. So you just use normal interview because it's a very simple application. But if you are using complex application like ERP, so you can use, so it depends on the solution you are working on or the project you are implementing will determine which approach. That's why we have different approaches. So it's left for you to use your initiative as a business analyst to understand which one that suits your need.
Okay, sir.
That's sorted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we have Hope now?
Good evening, Mr. Charles.
Good evening.
Okay, my question is, after the BA has gathered the requirements and analyzed the requirements, does he submit it to the PM? Who does he submit it to?
Doesn't submit it to the team, you know, which is BA. If you, for instance, if you after your analysis is part of your tax and deliverable, like if you go to your this thing work breakdown structure in trade camp, this has been assigned to some people to do requirement gathering. So whom are you submitting it to? What do you do after requirement gathering?
You upload it on the free camp.
So did you submit it to the PM?
No.
A lot of people within the team are waiting for that document, for that information. Everybody needs to have to go through the information. Anybody within the team, more especially, that's why we have dependencies. Some people might be waiting for document from requirement gathering to understand the next action. The project manager might be waiting for that document to understand the next action. When that document comes and with different solution, you can use it to, tweak your requirements or the approach you people want to use to, you know, implement the project. So you submit to your team.
All right, sir.
And then we have Mohammed Sanusi.
Good evening, Mr. Charles.
Good evening, Mohammed.
So I don't know if my question is going to take us back, or if I'm going to be faster than my shadow. Actually, I just wanted to know which approach or methodology we are going to adopt for the nearest expansion project. Are we to come up with that as a group, or we have to wait for you to give us a particular methodology?
Methodology, how?
Are we adopting an agile, which one?
Okay, from what we see already, we've adopted a waterfall approach. And that's what we're using. You can see we're not using Scrum, we're not using, so it's a waterfall approach. That is what we're using for this project.
Okay, that's noted.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
No worries, but we'll still have to do some, we'll have a topic on project methodology, which we still need to treat in this. It's part of the things we need to still do. But what we are using is waterfall. And
okay,
it's a good question.
thanks.
We have Benedict.
Yes, Benedict, sir. Good evening, Mr. Charles. Good evening, everyone. My question is, in few words, if I may ask, what would you say is the unique selling point of the Neras platform, considering the fact that there are so many competitors? You did mention a little bit when you were talking about SWOT analysis, about the strengths. But if I may ask in few words, so that when the business developers
What do you mean? Because I do not understand your question. What do you mean by limit settling point?
Unique selling point, like what makes Neras a platform unique or different? What is that thing that
Unique value proposition.
Yes, that's.
We've already created document for user value proposition. You don't have access to that document.
I've read are you talking about the project brief? Because I've read that.
Well, people, do we have because someone have said something about how to, have we had do I share any document about value proposition?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I used
Yes, you did.
So go and search for that document and get it if you don't have it. If you don't know the value that this particular platform provide to users, to go look for that document and read it up. Secondly, what is your next question? Because there's a question you are asking.
No, that answers it, because with the value proposition, the business developers can use that to.
I know, because why I created that document, we'll have user guide. There's two documents. We'll have all the features, user guide, what we try to in a short list all the features and how users can use it. And then another document called value proposition. What this platform, every feature, what value, specific value they provide to users. So,
okay, sir. Thank you very much.
If you need to tell your friend about this, why I did it, because user acquisition is telling people to come and
join the platform.
Join this platform. And once you tell somebody, they will tell you, what do I stand to gain? I've already have a Facebook and Instagram, and So what do I need? What do I stand to gain by adding another application? So you need to even tell them that, well, I don't think this TikTok, what it depends is what value are you even getting from TikTok? So many of us are using TikTok, but we don't even have derive any value from TikTok. So many of us are using Facebook, but we do not derive any benefit, specific financial benefit. In today's world, every application you are using, you must be getting value for that, because they are consuming your memory, they are consuming your data, you are paying for data to access Facebook. Is it only news that is what is important to you? You know, so many people are making money from Facebook, but if you are struggling to join those people making money, then you can look for other platform that can help you to start making money immediately. So these are a lot of things we'll talk about value. We know how we build Facebook to start even monetization. Then so many of us that are making money from Facebook, they will create an account or a page. They will lie, say that the page is not from Nigeria, the page is the user is based in the US, so that you can use it to start. So all those things, which is, for me, it's called marginalization, where we are marginalized so much, you know. So they can't keep giving us leftover or remnants to eat after other people must have made a lot of money from Facebook. They open it up for us to use. So let's, I think I even chunking unique value proposition while trying to address your question, Benedict.
No, sir, you've answered. I'm looking for the document. That for me, it's
Okay.
all I needed. Yeah.
Deborah.
I missed that part during the training. So
Deborah. Okay, Deborah is sleeping.
Okay, sir.
Deborah is sleeping.
Mr. Charles, I'm here. Good evening, sir. Sorry, I was trying to unmute.
Okay.
Okay, so please, I want to ask, because based on your teachings tonight, I might be wrong, but I feel like the role of a BA is more, I would like to say, centralized on process optimization, process improvement, and then basically when there's like maybe they need to create a new project, they need to launch a new project, so a BA is needed. I just want to know, is that all that there is to the job role of a BA, or it's more than that?
BA is like a midfielder in a project. So for those who knows football very, very well, how many of us are good footballers here?
Number one.
Okay. Okay, what is the what does I'm not asking you football professionals. If you know football very well, you know every rule.
Yes.
You know, in football, we have a midfielder, we have defense, we have attack, we have. So what does a midfielder do?
That you must carry out.
Get the ball from the defense and spread it to the attackers, and then collect from the opponent, receive from the opponent, and then distribute among his teammates. He connects the defense to the attack.
Do you understand?
Somebody is, I don't know whether somebody is trying to use AI to answer the question.
She's watching Big Brother.
Watching Big Brother in the people get mind though.
Okay. Okay. Well, the way people process information is differently, so they can be watching two different things. So that is the BA. BA is here to, understand stakeholders' need at every point. Stakeholders in every project, stakeholders they want to achieve something, you know, and it's beyond just project brief. So they need to understand what stakeholders need to achieve. That's what we call the goal and the objective. They understand it. So, and to undo that, they need to gather detailed requirements, because the project brief carries only high-level requirements. We know what is called, we should understand what high-level requirement is. Yeah? So, high-level requirement is when we have information just like bullet points, is not broken down. So the BAs need to go beyond high-level requirements. It's called detailed requirement, break them down so that everybody needs to understand what the stakeholders want, just beyond, because when we have a project, a lot of people are assuming there is no assumption. So BAs need to gather requirements, analyze requirements, break them down to understand specific way, specific solution that will help the team to deliver the project the way the stakeholders want it and achieve success. So that is in a layman's language that can help us to understand BA. Is that understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Charles.
All right, thank you. And with this, I think
Sir, please, I want to say something.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I want to add up in what you said concerning the what Benedict asked. One of the features that I've understood in this NERAS.com expansion program is that at least it has one feature ahead of maybe other ones, other big projects we already know, like Facebook, TikTok, and others, that the monetization process is very, very fast, is very, very faster than others. Others might be needing you to reach so milestone or so engagements or thereabout before you could be able to. But this one, once you're verified, you started posting and doing other stuff, so definitely your money is counting immediately. So, and I believe that the people, most especially the target audience we are having in Nigeria here, maybe from 18 to 45, most of them are, you know, always posting online, doing this, they are not getting values for that their money. But there in NERAS.com, definitely, as you post, any likes, any comment, definitely you're having a value down to your account if it is monetized. This is just what I want to.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So
that means we have to sign and use it so we can be able to understand the user journey on the platform. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, the main important thing is for you to do, because I believe, like, based on what Andrew said, and let me use your language, unique selling points. Andrew have identified one unique selling point you can use.
Yes.
And all we need to do is come as a team, review all these requirements we've gathered tonight. If you still had more questions after all this requirement gathering, why I did this requirements gathering and do the, for you, I've done the requirement gathering, I've done the documentation and analyzed it, because we have not treated business analysis, you know. So that's why I have to do all this for you. If we have done business analysis, I'm not going to waste my time to start doing requirement gathering for you, requirement analysis. Yeah, but this is a starting point where you can, with this, you can start taking, you know, that baby step analysis. So, but requirement gathering is an ongoing process, you know. You can keep on gathering requirement. Once you have any kind of things you do not understand, you can always, instead of assuming, just go to the stakeholder and clarify. Anytime you're asking question in a project, you are gathering requirements. It's not only when you are trying, even when you are trying to understand the stakeholders that are like stakeholder analysis is part of requirement gathering, because you're asking question, you need to understand all the stakeholders in that project. It's still part of requirement gathering. It's not only when you're asking, trying to understand that particular product or solution. That is not the only requirement gathering. If you have the objective is vague, you do not understand it very well. When you try to clarify the objective to make it very clear to you, it's still requirement gathering. It's not only BAs that does requirement gathering anyway, even project managers, because whenever you, but in terms of this, is mainly BAs that does it. So, but anytime you're asking question, it's requirements gathering. I want you to understand that. So, and you continue to ask questions. All right. Today's class is longer than usual because we have to combine a lot of things together. So I will try to share this document as soon as possible so that every team will have a copy and start working as soon as possible. Temitope Dario, I don't know why you're raising your hand. We're almost rounding up, but I don't want to ignore your question. What is that?
Thank you, sir. I'm so sorry. When you were talking the other time, you said there was a part you said that when we are doing requirement gathering as a project manager, it's not okay for you to go back, tell the people that you've spoken to that you've forgotten one or two things. Now, is it that you don't have what if you truly need maybe further stuff to ask them? I don't think it would be proper to go with a recorder to record them.
If you have further stuff to add, like for now, you capture a particular requirement from me, which we'll discuss very well. You come back again to start asking me about particular question. It's not proper. But in the course of the project and something come up, something clarification or something you need to understand, that is different from, you can't go back with different requirements all over again and again. It's better to make sure you capture it very well, record it, document it very well, so that you don't have to go back again. But if instead of making mistake, you can swallow your pride and go back and capture it, beg them, tell them you couldn't capture. They will see maybe you are not a fast learner or you don't. So, but instead of making mistake, you can go back and recapture. Okay. I'm saying that is not proper after, because I know, for instance, now time it took me to make out time to sit down and I have a lot of things on my table. You come back again with maybe you want to capture a requirement on this unique value proposition. We've discussed extensively, like 2 to 3 hours discussing unique value proposition. You come back tomorrow and start, you want to have requirement gathering on unique value proposition. How do you think I'm going to look at you?
Yeah, I get that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for the access, and thanks for answering my question.
You're welcome. So thank you, everybody, and I wish you luck as you continue to fire on your project. So, and hopefully gonna see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.